Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well and spending a lovely beginning of the year. As the title implies, this won't be a very long update, but in any case, let me thank everyone who joined the premiere and everyone who came to watch afterwards. Since YouTube has been my primary social media, I thought it would be easier to do a global update here. As you already know and saw, the YouTube channel is pretty inactive and will stay as such. And no, despite what I can hear from some people, releasing a video every 3-4 months is not the same as uploading twice a week. So I can assure you that I don't have any desire to truly come back to YouTube. In fact, the slight increase of video uploads recently was only due to the release of the Muctales parts. And even though I was unemployed for almost a full year now, I didn't even use that time to make much content. But I'm not here to just say, hello, here's fucking nothing, like a Tails representative. I still have a few things to share and some news that will have an impact across all my social medias. For YouTube, I still want to deliver a few guides. Though since gameplay knowledge is not something people are interested in, I will only work on things that spark my curiosity. I don't like to make half-baked video either just for the sake of showing off, so they will likely come every few months whenever I find the motivation to work on them. The research and the documenting parts are something I like to do, but the scripting and audio recording for videos are parts I really dread. So yeah, they will come whenever I feel like it. I also have other ideas, but they are so low priority that I just don't want to mention them since I don't even know if they will ever happen. And yeah, that's about it for YouTube. As for the next update, it only concerns my French viewers, which according to YouTube amount to a huge total of 3 people. So I'm gonna switch to French, and for the English speakers, you can just enjoy the gameplay on screen. Alors, comme dit un peu plus tôt, la chaîne YouTube va continuer de mourir à petit feu. À un moment donné, je souhaitais faire en sorte que mon contenu soit à la fois disponible en anglais et en français, surtout pour les guides, mais l'algorithme m'a complètement nié sur ces dernières années, ce qui fait que en fait, je n'ai vraiment aucun intérêt de le faire car c'est juste énormément de boulot supplémentaire pour des vidéos qui ne sont absolument pas visibles pour le public ciblé. Et ayant passé pas mal de temps aussi dans les communes francophones, je vois bien que tout ce qui est gameplay n'intéresse pas spécialement. Donc, aucun changement sur YouTube à ce niveau-là. Maintenant, de manière totalement indépendante, j'avais un autre projet à vous partager. Je switch complètement de plateforme. À partir de cette année, je souhaite produire du contenu sur Twitch désormais. Parce qu'après mûre réflexion, ça correspond beaucoup plus à ce que je recherche, contrairement à YouTube. Je vais pas aller trop dans les détails sur le pourquoi ni comment, et surtout parce que j'ai beaucoup de choses encore à finaliser, mais j'espère en tout cas pouvoir lancer mes premiers streams d'ici la fin du mois de janvier ou de février. Alors il n'y aura pas que du Tales, au contraire, ça permettra de découvrir certains jeux et licences que j'avais mis de côté depuis très longtemps, et que je voulais aussi partager en live. Il y aura toujours des challenges, il y aura du rétro, tout simplement parce qu'en fait j'avais vraiment envie de plus de variété. Je vous tiendrai informé quand tout sera prêt, et pour cela je penserai utiliser mes comptes X et Blue Sky pour communiquer sur les news, le contenu, etc. And that's it. Back to the English speakers, the only thing you should know is that at some point you will likely start seeing tweets on X and Blue Sky in French amongst my usual posts. But don't worry, I'm still gonna post and reply in English from time to time because I have no reason to stop that. But I wanted you to be aware of the changes so that you are not surprised by them. And that's all about the updates. I already know some people are gonna meme in the chat talking about a new run, and just take a look at this.
恐ろしいか。死の予感、甘美であろう。氷河じゃ。汚れが生んだ恐ろしい魔物じゃ。 奴らを倒せるのは特別なものだけが操る浄化の力のみ。我らに氷馬を退治することはできないのじゃ。
人の邪神が汚れを見、湖の乙女、なんとかできないのか。あなたは浄化の力を持ってるんだろう。
さあ、湖の乙女よ、その力を表したまえ。
私はずっと待っていました。流化ブラ、シンクは落ちた全てを調べ無謀な死を夢への会。合わせて風の邪神を私の褒められ。愛を捨て去り真理をその手にしていきますよ。しました真理を解とします。同時にまあ敵は無礼は周りで武器を殴るので見せて真理を入ります。この領域、今まで感じたどれよりも
冗談じゃない。
これほどの汚れ、まさかこれほどの邪悪な領域を持つ者は他の者しか考えられませんわ。
まさか最下の剣士。
Before anything, yeah, blah blah blah, come back, blah blah blah, Tempest One. No. This thing has been on the making for more than a year now, and I'm not even halfway done, so again, lowest priority. Don't see anything behind this. But anyway, I'm still very happy to present that new run. Zestiria is a game I really like, but I could never do anything chant related because the game is such a joke. That's such an easy game. And on top of that, the game allows you to do so many dumb stuff that it was almost impossible to make it challenging. I spent so much time over the years thinking about proper restrictions, and it was never enough. And even there, you will see a damn lot of restrictions, and I will still consider this run the easiest I have ever done. So, in any case, let's check the restrictions together. And there are Lailah solo, no damage, no item, no death, no menu, no free run. So far, that's pretty standard, nothing much to say. The next restrictions are related to stats and damage output. No double damage, no herb, no snack and skill level up bonuses, and my level must be inferior or equal to the boss level. So, the reason so many of those restrictions exist is that bosses are so darn fast to kill in this game. The game allows you to optimize damage output so easily that you can deal ridiculous damage in a very short period of time. It's even more true in a no damage setting, as I can choose equipment that only increase my offensive stats. And speaking about equipment, all the remaining restrictions are about them. So let me take the time to describe the rules. First of all, the equipment level must be inferior to the boss level. You may know that each piece of equipment has an internal level, and the way it works is that it dictates when and which enemies can drop a piece of equipment. Basically, a piece of equipment is dropped by enemies that are around the same level as the equipment itself. So it's actually a pretty good design to balance equipment drop, but the problem with that is that you can very easily find ways to increase the level of random encounters. And by the very beginning of the game, you can easily and already get access to the best equipment, which completely breaks the game. So by using this restriction, I force myself to actually have to progress through the run in order to get better equipment, which balances not only my stats, but also forces me to think about which piece of equipment I want to equip in order to get different skills, since some of them are forced. The next restriction is that I can only fuse a weapon up to +10. The reason behind that is that fusion can increase stats very easily, and if I don't put any limit, I would be able to get very high stats and destroy bosses in mere seconds. Bosses don't have much HP in this game, so it was very important for me to prevent having stats that are too high. And the reason I chose plus 10 as a limit is because this is the minimum level required to get access to Sanctification. So the idea is that I can only improve a piece of equipment until it's sanctified, and then after that, I can't touch it ever again. And then, I also prevent myself from using any joke equipment. There are two reasons behind this. The first one is that joke weapons usually come with OP skills already attached to them, and due to the way they work, you can create other combination skills that make them even more OP. And I really wanted to avoid that early game. The second reason is, like I said earlier, I wanted to force myself to think about which piece of equipment I wanted to have, especially since there are forced skills attached to them already. And now, since I mentioned skills, it's time to announce which ones are banned. And oh my god, there are so many of them that needed to be restricted. The first skill is Rangus. This one was pretty obvious. Rangus is a base skill, very easy to have access to, and it increases damage done to stun enemies by 20%. That's a damn lot, especially when you know how much damage you already did against an enemy when it's stunned. You can wreck an enemy so fast with this skill that there won't be any challenge anymore. So yeah, it was pretty mandatory to forbid this one. Then, we have all the skills related to cancelling or reducing damage. So we're talking about Invalida, Stacked Preventi, and Hero. Obviously, since I'm doing a no damage run, I couldn't use skills that would allow me to just rush into the enemy without any thinking and allow me to get hit for free. I want the no damage restriction and tag in my video titles to actually hold some value. The only exception is the one you can see, Preventi. This one is allowed for one single reason. There is one boss that has a full range attack that can't be dodged at all. So for this one, I will be forced to perfect dodge, and then I need to actually cancel that one single point of damage I take. If I ever find a solution against that attack, I will completely put Preventi as a forbidden skill. Then, the next restriction is the one that I knew from the very beginning that I would add it, because this is so broken. This is so damn stupid that if damage times 32 wasn't a thing, I would consider it the most stupid design choice ever made in the series. Nobody in their right mind uses this and call it a challenge after it, because it completely ruins the game. And the skill I'm describing is Stacked Mystic. One Mystic is minus 30% casting time, which is pretty okay because by the end of the game, you still have to think about how to properly chain spells, especially since bosses tend to have very high stagger mitigation. But when you stack the skill and have 80% reduction, you can just roll your head on the controller. Almost everything is an instant cast, and it stacks with the chain bonuses. It's so easy to cast and chain spells that you don't even have to think anymore. And not only that, but spells in Zestiria have ridiculous damage output and stagger. They also increase the stagger duration of your wall combo. So by being able to spell spam, you can basically keep your enemy staggered for so long that your combo will never drop. So yeah, that one was a definite no-go. After that, we have No Eternity. Eternity is a very good skill, but I don't consider it OP on its own. What I mean is that while Eternity allows you to chain arts forever, chaining itself is not an issue in Zestiria because it's very easy to extend your combos using BG and different kinds of resets. What makes Eternity so good is basically all the side effects around it. Because since you can chain things forever, you don't have to think about all those different cancels. You don't have to think about using BG to extend your combos, and you can also use all that BG for Mystic Arts. It just makes everything easier. It's also so against the Tales philosophy where the idea is to learn how to extend your chains that I was totally against using this. Then after that, we have something a bit similar, we have No Lucifer. Once again, I don't think the skill by itself is that OP, since it only reduces your SC consumptions. which you can already reduce with after usage. The problem with Lucifer is that since you reduce your SC usage so much, you don't have to think once again about using BG to recover SC, which allows you to keep them for Mystic Arts. And since stagger is related to how much remaining SC you have, it's much easier to keep combos alive. So once again, what makes Lucifer so good is all the side effects it grants. The next one is No Shaman, and it's related to status ailments. Status ailments in Zestiria are very useful. Lailah in particular has access to Burn, which increases stagger time. I noticed that when I trigger Burn near the end of a combo, it usually extends it by around 20 hits, which is pretty good. But since I can already combo between 50 to 70 hits on my own against every boss, it's not that much of a game changer. Shaman, however, removes the only limit that prevents status ailments from being broken as hell: their duration. With Shaman, you can make ailments last for so long that the positive effects they have completely break the bosses, their pattern, and everything. And finally, the last skills that are completely restricted are Void Axe, Fire Axe, Earth Axe, Aquax, and Windorax. What they all have in common is a 20% chance to multiply the damage output of an element by 4, and if you stack them, by 8. Even though it's a random chance to occur, the probability is so high that the damage output is absolutely ridiculous. So once again, anything that can almost instant kill enemies is a big no-no in my book. Phew, that was a lot of things to mention, but it's not over. Even with these restrictions, I can still create a very strong character, especially early game. So I had to add more stuff. And the first thing is no skill times 3. And there are multiple reasons for that. First of all, skills times 3 allows me to have access to way too many skills beyond what is actually necessary to complete a run. And I didn't want to have a character that was too OP. The second one is that since I allow skills to stack, skills times 3 allow me to have an easy access to both even and uneven stacks. At the same time, one single skill times 3 grants me the Blast skill, which increases my BG by 1, and BG is a very powerful resource. All of this was just way too much advantage. And finally, the other reason is, in a casual New Game Plus run, it's fairly common to come across skills stacked by 2, but a skill times 3 is so damn rare that it's very difficult, almost impossible to farm. I wanted to have a challenge with setups that felt possible to any player. Setups that would be not that difficult to achieve with a bit of grinding. I didn't want to have a setup that felt completely impossible to reach without cheat engine. The next restriction is probably my favorite one because even under those conditions, I could still create a monster early game with so many possible skill combinations. What I wanted is to make my character progress and become stronger as the game becomes more difficult. So I created this new restriction, which is progressive skill slots. Basically, the idea is to limit the number of skills I can equip for each different boss, and this number increases as the run goes on. The formula is pretty easy. I start the game with only 3 possible skills to equip, and I get access to 2 new skills after each boss until I reach the maximum of skill times 2 on everything, which amount to a total of 40 skills. Also, unkillable bosses or enemies that can't actually attack me will be recorded but are not part of the formula, and they won't increase the number of skills I can equip. And finally, the last restriction is that I can't have any skill times 2 before filling every slot from my equipment. The reason behind this is a bit subtle, but basically it's a way to force me to equip things I don't have a use for and play with their forced skills without abusing the system. I'm not going too much into details here. You will see what I mean in the videos. I will explain why it has some impacts. And that's about it. In case you may wonder, I am not restricting the Mystic Arts chain because I realized that I can actually keep a combo alive after using a Mystic Art and chain those normally. Stun duration also doesn't decrease during the animations, so in a solo setting, it doesn't make much difference. Okay, I hope all those restrictions were pretty clear. I know it was a bit dense, but if you think that it was maybe a bit too much, trust me, all of this was absolutely necessary. And I will show you why, because against a few bosses, I actually recorded some additional takes where I break some of those restrictions. And you will be able to see the huge difference and how I can easily break the game with those systems. So I hope you're going to enjoy those takes as much as the actual run itself. And let's finish this with a bit of talking about Lailah. Lailah is such an interesting character. She's definitely the most glass cannon character in Zestiria. She has amazing offensive stats, she has amazing stagger and combo potential, but she dies so easily. She's very frail. And the other issue is that she's a bit more difficult to handle compared to the other Seraphs because, unlike them, she can't really spell spam from afar. Lailah is a bit like Pascal in this regard. She's much more optimal when she's at close range. And the thing is, she has a lot of difficulties bridging the gaps between her long-range spells and short-range attacks, because she's very slow. And the other issue she has is that it's very difficult for her to approach an enemy. Her physical attacks have very good stagger, but they are extremely slow and have pitiful range as well. So usually, it's better to start a combo with a setup, most likely a spell, and then continue and carry on with your combo. So she's definitely a very high risk, high reward character, and it was very fitting for me to choose her because that's definitely my kind of character and a playstyle that also totally fits for a no damage setting. So yeah, that's all I wanted to mention today. I'll keep you updated if there is any change in my plans. And yeah, again, thank you everyone for joining and taking the time to hear everything I had to say. And I wish you a wonderful day. Bye bye.